If there's one thing life teaches us, it's that time can be a great ally or an implacable enemy, depending on how you choose to live it. But the truth is that most people reach the age of 50, 70, 80 without having learned the most valuable lessons about relationships, happiness, and self-knowledge. And this doesn't happen by chance. Society teaches us to value youth, beauty, and intense passion, but almost no one talks about what really makes a relationship last, what keeps the flame burning, and, above all, what brings us true fulfillment. Today, at 75 years old, after a life full of experiences, mistakes, successes, and deep reflections, I can say with certainty, much of what you were taught about love, connection, and intimacy is wrong. You may be depriving yourself of experiencing extraordinary moments simply by believing in myths that have never been questioned. But what if I told you that there is still time to change that? What small adjustments in the way you think and act can completely transform the way you live your relationships, and can even save your marriage, which until then may be worn down by time and the monotony of everyday life? If you've ever felt like something is missing, that routine has extinguished the flame, or that intimacy is no longer what it used to be, then this video is for you. Get ready to discover truths that few have the courage to speak, and that could revolutionize the way you view love and connection from now on. Intimacy is much more than simple physical contact between couples. It is the invisible glue that strengthens the emotional and mental connection. When two people share gestures of affection on a daily basis, such as a subtle touch on the arm or a long look, they create an environment of emotional security that transforms the relationship. Small moments, like a long hug after a difficult day or a hand massage while watching a movie, have a profound impact on the way you both feel in the relationship. It's not just about physical proximity, but about a mature emotional relationship where the couple learns to read each other's body language. It's curious how, over time, many couples end up forgetting that intimacy goes far beyond the bedroom. The emotional connection is strengthened through sincere conversations, active listening, and valuing the partner's details. A simple, unexpected compliment or, "I'm here for whatever you need," can be more powerful than any rehearsed statement. The harmony between two people is not only based on physical attraction, but on trust in the partner and respect for individual preferences. The more you both feel seen and understood, the more the relationship becomes a safe space for expressing your feelings. The big question is, how many times in everyday life do we stop to demonstrate this connection? Routine can be cruel, and without realizing it, many leave aside the small gestures that were once natural. Something as simple as holding someone else's hand while they walk or sending a loving message in the middle of the day can rekindle the flame of intimacy. The couple's rhythm and harmony are not only built in moments of intense passion, but in the daily details that show that they are both attentive to each other. And when this foundation is solid, breaking myths about intimacy becomes a much easier journey. Breaking myths about intimacy. Many grew up hearing that intimacy should follow a fixed script, but the truth is that each person experiences pleasure and connection in a unique way. One of the biggest myths is the idea that all women feel pleasure in the same way, or that there is a universal secret formula for satisfaction. The reality is quite different. While some connect more through sensory stimuli and subtle touches, others value active listening and emotional exchange before any physical involvement. The key to a truly satisfying relationship lies in open communication, respecting individual preferences, and a willingness to explore together what really makes sense for both of you. Another common misconception is believing that attraction and connection inevitably diminish over time. In fact, a mature emotional relationship is built on trust, body expression, and the appreciation of natural changes in the body and mind over the years. Instead of seeing hormonal changes as an obstacle, couples who understand this process are able to adapt and strengthen intimacy even further. Small adjustments to your routine, such as investing in prolonged foreplay or seeking new forms of physical and mental connection, make all the difference in keeping the flame burning. Furthermore, there are those who believe that talking about desires and preferences can ruin the magic of the moment, when in fact, it is just the opposite. When a couple feels safe to express their wishes without fear of judgment, intimacy becomes more pleasurable and meaningful. Trust in your partner is essential to break down barriers and explore new forms of pleasure and sensitivity. After all, understanding that intimacy is a continuous process of learning and sensory exploration paves the way for deeper and more genuine experiences. And speaking of improving that connection, maintaining a strong connection in a relationship requires more than pretty words. It's the small, everyday attitudes that really make a difference. Often, a simple, subtle touch, an unexpected kiss on the back of the neck, or a caress on the face can reactivate the relationship between the couple. The secret is to create moments of intimacy that go beyond the obvious, such as exploring new forms of affectionate gestures and strengthening the partner's emotional security. Active listening is also essential. Looking each other in the eye, really listening to what the other person feels, and showing genuine interest are powerful ways to deepen emotional and physical connection. For those who feel that routine has put out some of the flame, a different approach can transform everything. How about experimenting with subtle changes in the way they show affection? Small gestures such as whispering something affectionate in the ear, exploring less obvious areas like the belly or arms, or even prolonging foreplay create an atmosphere of trust and desire. Natural lubrication, for example, can be enhanced with gradual excitement and patience, which reinforces the importance of rhythm and harmony between the couple. Another essential point to improve connection is self-acceptance. Many people stop giving themselves completely to intimacy due to insecurities about their own bodies, which can affect both the pleasure and the quality of the relationship. Creating an environment where both people feel comfortable being who they are, without fear or external pressure, strengthens a mature emotional relationship. After all, when there is respect for individual preferences and a safe space for expressing feelings, the connection becomes natural and fluid. And speaking of comfort and acceptance, there is an aspect of the relationship that still raises many doubts: intimacy during the menstrual cycle. There is still a huge taboo when it comes to intimacy during the menstrual cycle. But the truth is that this period can be an incredible opportunity to strengthen the couple's physical and mental connection. A woman's body goes through hormonal changes that can directly influence desire, energy, and even sensitivity to touch. For many, this phase awakens a greater need for gestures of affection and emotional security, making it the ideal time to explore more subtle forms of pleasure and harmony. When there is trust in the partner and respect for individual preferences, intimacy becomes a fluid and comfortable experience with no room for embarrassment. Each woman experiences this period differently, which is exactly why open communication becomes essential. Some may feel an increase in desire, while others prefer to focus on body expression and more delicate stimuli. The important thing is that the couple is aligned, without fear or pressure, respecting limits, and exploring what brings comfort and pleasure to both. Furthermore, natural lubrication can be different during this phase, and understanding these variations contributes to a more harmonious and satisfying encounter. Active listening is essential for the relationship to remain balanced, ensuring that both parties feel comfortable expressing their desires and needs. Accepting the body in all its phases is an act of self-love and strengthens a mature emotional relationship. Small adjustments to the environment, such as a relaxing bath for two or gentle massages, can transform this experience into a special moment of emotional connection. Couples who see this phase as a natural part of the relationship develop greater harmony, eliminating insecurities and strengthening mutual trust. In the end, true intimacy isn't just in moments of intense passion, but in the ability to genuinely connect in all circumstances. And for this connection to be truly solid, there is an essential factor that cannot be ignored. If there is one essential ingredient for a healthy and satisfying relationship, it is communication. And we're not just talking about superficial conversations about everyday life, but rather a safe space where both can express their feelings, desires, and even insecurities without fear of judgment. Active listening is one of the pillars of this exchange, because when one partner really pays attention to the other, without rushing or distractions, an environment of emotional safety is created that strengthens the connection. Often a simple, "How do you feel about that?" It can open doors to deep conversations that transform the relationship. When there is freedom to talk about preferences and expectations, intimacy takes on another dimension. It's not uncommon for couples to avoid certain topics for fear of appearing demanding or hurting the other's ego. But the truth is that repressing desires can lead to frustration and distancing. Expressing yourself clearly with respect to individual preferences is the path to a more pleasurable and aligned relationship. If one partner likes prolonged stimulation and the other prefers something more spontaneous, for example, talking about it allows you both to find a rhythm and tune that pleases you both. A study revealed that couples who talk openly about their desires tend to have more satisfying relationships. And it makes sense. Without communication, how can you know what really pleases the other person? Small adjustments in the way we show affection, explore new things, and even respect each other's time make all the difference. After all, intimacy is not about guessing what the other person wants, but about building together a space of trust and respect. And when this dialogue is constant, a natural opening emerges to explore and reinvent the relationship. Intimacy is not a fixed destination, but rather an ongoing journey of discovery. Couples who allow themselves to explore new forms of physical and emotional connection end up strengthening their relationship even further. Often, routine can make affectionate gestures and subtle touches take a back seat, but small changes can completely transform the dynamics between partners. A simple invitation to try a sensorial massage, a new form of prolonged foreplay, or even rediscovering the pleasures of a long kiss are ways to rekindle the flame and restore harmony. The truth is that sensory exploration goes beyond physical issues. It involves trust, respect for preferences, and openness to experimenting together. Changing the environment, testing new approaches to body expression, or even exploring different stimuli during intimacy are ways to bring freshness to the relationship. The important thing is not to follow a rule book, but rather to find ways to make the connection more engaging and meaningful. And, for this, nothing replaces trust in your partner and the willingness to leave your comfort zone without pressure or demands. The big mistake many couples make is believing that intimacy needs to follow a rigid pattern, when in fact it can, and should, evolve over time. The secret is to keep your curiosity active and always be willing to learn more about others. Small details, such as discovering new ways to stimulate your partner's pleasure and sensitivity, make the experience richer and more authentic. And for those who still doubt the impact of these small changes, just look at the numbers. The numbers don't lie. Communication and the exploration of intimacy are directly linked to satisfaction in relationships. Studies show that 40% of women consider nipple stimulation to be one of the most important parts of foreplay, which reinforces the importance of understanding individual preferences. Small details can make all the difference, and active listening becomes a valuable tool for the couple to discover what really works for both of them. When there is trust and respect for preferences, the emotional and physical connection naturally strengthens, creating a more harmonious relationship. Another interesting fact points out that couples who talk openly about their desires and needs tend to have more satisfying relationships. This shows that intimacy is not something that happens by chance. It needs to be nurtured and cultivated with gestures of affection, bodily expressions, and a sincere exchange of feelings. After all, it's not enough to just want a mature emotional relationship. You need to actively invest in it. When the couple keeps this communication channel open, the chances of frustration decrease, and the harmony becomes increasingly natural and pleasurable. Furthermore, a factor that is often ignored can directly impact energy and disposition in intimacy. Hydration. Staying hydrated throughout the day not only improves blood circulation, it also influences natural lubrication and resistance during moments of connection. Small daily habits such as drinking more water, taking care of your diet, and respecting your menstrual cycle can contribute to a more balanced and satisfactory performance. Ultimately, intimacy is a sum of several factors, and understanding these details can make all the difference in the couple's experience. Now, the big question is, how to put all this into practice and transform the relationship once and for all? The time has come to put this knowledge into practice. You've spent your whole life hearing incomplete truths about relationships, intimacy, and emotional connection, but now you have information in your hands that could change everything. The question is, will you continue waiting for things to change on their own, or will you take control of your own happiness? Small adjustments in everyday life, a closer look at gestures of affection, and a willingness to explore new forms of connection can completely transform the quality of your relationships. Now tell me, what are you going to do with all this? Will you continue repeating the same patterns, or finally make room for a deeper, more mature, and satisfying relationship? If this content made sense to you, type 10 in the comments. If, for some reason, you did not do so, enter 0, so I can improve and bring even more value to you. Oh, and don't forget, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and continue learning how to strengthen your emotional and physical connection. The best is yet to come. Until the next video.